Originally, I was born in Yugoslavia. There were Germans living in Yugoslavia. And the section that we lived in, it was invaded by the Russians were moving in, and of course at that time Hitler was overruled that, and he occupied Yugoslavia at that time. It was almost like overnight they gave us the leave. We had to leave everything behind and flee into the nearest country, which was Austria. We get to Austria, and the Austrians, they said, "We don't really want you, we were refugees." And why? Because they considered us Yugoslavs, you know. So we didn't feel very welcome there. So in 1952, we had a chance to come to America. And I remember my mom saying when my dad came in, and I was 12 years old. My dad came in and she says, "You have to keep in mind that the Americans fought the Germans, you know, so some of the German people thought that those were still our enemies after all these years, you know. They didn't really like the Germans and so on." And my stepmom, she said to him, "What do you want in America? Those people, they hate us." And he says, "Well, let's go over there and let's try it for a year, and if you don't like it, I'll bring you back to Austria," you know. In those days, the immigrants, they all had to have a sponsor. And so our sponsor was just outside of Chicago. Well, we get to New York, and that sponsor couldn't wait because we had to wait for our turn to get on the ship. He took somebody else, and so we ended up spending about 2 weeks in New York. And finally they said, "We have a new place for you, and this new place is Citrus Heights, California." And I bought myself a gas station on the corner of Old Auburn and Sunrise in 1965. So in the meantime, my dad had this dream about opening his own business, you know. And I lived in that house, which is now Kniesel's Sunrise Auto Service, and next door is Kniesel's body shop. Yeah, I did everything, the painting and everything. And then as time progressed, you know, it got better and better. And so anyway, long story short, if you're good to people and you try to do a good job, you know, it pays off. And it paid off for us so good that we now have 6 locations, 200 and some employees. All 3 of my sons are involved. My daughter had a lifelong job there. She's 53, but we retired her. She still gets so much a month, and she lives not far from here, you know. And again, I'm not trying to brag, I'm just trying to tell you that I'm so thankful that I was given the opportunity by Citrus Heights and by God to be able to do this, you know.